Now let's discuss about each and every component of the application server. The first we have the web server. Here, the user makes a request from the browser by typing http://hostname:/port number, where port is the web server listener port. Request head to web server. This request is recorded in access log under Apache web server. Web server checks with the HTTP header request if there is any cookie attached. Cookie is a message or information given by the web server to web browser to identify the client. Web server identifies that the user is logging for the first time and it passes the login page to the user. Now, the user types its username and password in login window and clicks the submit button. Once it submits button, then web server checks that username and password needs to authenticate against database FND user table. So it needs some user to connect to the database. So it uses guest user ID and password is used in application. Once the user is authenticated, it's checked against FND tables for authorization against user responsibility and assigned its responsibilities are presented back to user. The important components of the web server would be the web listener. The JServe stands for Java Servlet Engine. It supports servlets and the mod PLSQL. Now we will discuss about the form server. The form server browser sends request to the HTTP listener, that is the Apache. HTTP listener sends HTML page back to the browser. Browser decodes HTML page and detects the applet tag. What information does the applet tag contains? It contains the name of the forms to run, the name of the form server to use, the login information. The browser asks the web server to send the Java applet. Java applet are stored in jar forms. HTTP listener returns jar file to the browser. Browser receives the jar file and begins to run in its JVM. The JVM checks the versions of the files being sent. If the versions of the files are newer, then the JInitiator will download. If the version is same or older than the JInitiator, will begin to run the cached Java files. Java applet is running on JInitiator and the browser is no longer needed. The thin Java client connects to the forms listener and it starts a forms runtime engine for the thin client. The forms runtime engine loads the modules needed to run the requested forms. The forms runtime engine opens a connection to the database. Now we will discuss about the third server, that is the report server. In report server, the user clicks a ring in the browser. The browser contacts the web listener with a request. The web listener contacts the report server through the web CGI. The report server starts report runtime engine. The report runtime engine connects to the database to query the requested information. The reports are shown to the user in the HTML page in the client desktop. Now let's discuss about the admin server. The admin server is used to perform number of administrative tasks. For example, applying patching, applying AD utilities, upgradation. It is used to generate or regenerate all the corrupted files. It helps for bug fixing. The next we have the Discoverer server, which is a reporting tool and it helps for future forecast and it's also known as the intelligence tool. After this, we discuss the last, that is the concurrent server. So what is a concurrent request? When an Oracle application user submits a request to run a program, it is called concurrent request. The set of programs responsible to run concurrent requests is known as concurrent managers. So what does concurrent managers do? It executes jobs parallelly. If one job takes 3 days, another job need to wait for 3 days. So, parallel execution of jobs. Executing jobs based on priority. For example, a clerk and the CEO of an organization submits the same job. CEO's jobs will be executed first. It checks how many times to execute a job, how many days to execute a job, and also to schedule jobs. There are a few types of concurrent manager. The first is ICM, that stands for Internal Concurrent Manager. It takes care of other managers. If other managers are down, it checks and tries to restart it. Then we have the standard managers. They are the normal managers which does the single or the batch request processing. Then we have CRM, that is Conflict Resolution Manager. It is used to resolve conflicts between request and managers. If a request is submitted whose execution is clashing or is not been defined to run under certain managers, CRM takes care of it. We also have custom managers, transitional managers, and OPM managers. So this is all about the architecture we have. Now the last chapter in this tutorial, in the chapter 1, is we will see how to start and stop the application and the database services. So in order to start, whether it's in 11 or in R12, first we need to start the database services. That is, we need to start the database and the database listener. After the database and the database listener are up and running, now we need to start the application. The starting of the application is done by the script that is known as adstr.sh, that is adstart.sh. It starts up all the services. Now in case if we need to bring down certain services, we need to first stop the application, that is adstopall.sh, and after the application is down, then we can bring down the database services, that is stop the database and the database listener. So in this tutorial we have learned about the architecture as well as how to stop and start an Oracle application. Thank you.